With no proper investigation, how can you directly announce that it is a case of suicide? That basically reflects very poorly on the Maharashtra government at present.
Right.
And why was there a blockade being created for the Bihar cops who wanted to investigate in the state of Maharashtra? Repeated blockades being created.
Definitely, the Maharashtra Sarkar and the Mumbai police cannot run away from these tough questions that are in fact staring them in their face. Stay with me, both of you. I'm also now joined on the broadcast by Mr. Dinesh Rao, who is a forensic expert. Sir, good afternoon. I just want to understand from you the claim made by the lawyer of Sushant's family that interestingly on the post-mortem report, even the time of death is not mentioned. How big a miss is that? And in normal circumstances, isn't that one of the first things that doctors preparing that report would mention?
See, for your first question, the most important thing is the time since death plays a very important role for us as far as the investigation is concerned. Because once the time since, instead of time of death, we usually call as time since death. Because once the time since death is known during the time of post-mortem examination, the time of death is calculated. And this time of death is very important for the investigating officer, because that is the point where you will start with the investigation. That is the most important aspect. The second thing is that based on the time of death, the investigating officer will be able to corroborate with the statement of the witnesses. These are the two very important factors which plays a very important role in the investigation is concerned. If the time of death is not present, that means the basic part of the investigation itself, it's very difficult to start with. Right. So this is one particular important thing which I would like to point out. The second important is the doctor, whoever has conducted the post-mortem, I think he has ignored the basic duties of conducting the post-mortem. See, the post-mortem examination is, we have certain main important objectives. One is the identification, the cause of death, and assisting the investigating officer to find the manner of death. And above all, the most important thing is the time since death, based on which the time of death is calculated. And in this, to calculate the time since death, we see the changes in the eye, the changes in the skin, and the changes in the muscles, that we call it as rigor mortis.
Correct.
And the changes in the post-mortem staining we call on the dependent parts of the body, that is called post-mortem staining or livor mortis. And another most important thing is the contents of the stomach, the state of the contents of the stomach. That means, is it a fresh food, a semi-digested, or it is completely digested, and is it emptied into the duodenum or the small intestine? The state of the feces in the large intestines. So all these things are taken into consideration to arrive at the so-called time of death.
Well, Mr. Rao, I also want to understand from you, you said that the doctor in this case did not perform his duty the way it was expected, when he even misses out on the big, time of death in the report when he's handed it over to the police. The police also on its part, it seems, missed the basic protocol. When an investigative officer is given a post-mortem report, isn't it the first thing that they would ask from the doctor, what was the time of death?
Exactly. It's a very good point you raise. See, as I told earlier, if the time of death is not known, it is very difficult for any investigating officer on the earth to start with the basic investigation itself. Because the investigation officer has to confirm what time did this person die. So that the people around him, whatever their statement they say, is it corroborating with the time of death? So that it is easy for the investigating officer to carry out from that point of the investigation. That means from that particular time, whatever the sequence of events or timeline of events pertaining to the crime is concerned, for him to derive that particular part, the basic requirement is the time of death.
Right. So is the family correct in now accusing the Mumbai police and the authorities, whoever was investigating Sushant's case, in saying that, there were some basics which were not even followed at the time of initial investigation, and therefore we have lost trust in Mumbai police, in their handling of the case, and it must be handed over to a central agency. Are they wrong in demanding this, as has been alleged by the by the administration and government of Maharashtra, who are so defensive of Mumbai police?
See, you're definitely the family is very right to ask as why the basic requirement in a postmortem report, the time of death is not there. But at the same time, the family, they can, that means, the investigating officer can give a letter to the concerned doctor asking for a clarification or a further opinion about the time since then. These are the two options. One is definitely the family, what they have raised is exactly, means it is very genuine, and very much surprising is why the investigation officer had not seek the clarification from the concerned doctor who had done the postmortem.
Absolutely. These are some very valid questions, sir, and Mumbai police is every time falling short of answering them. Thank you very much, Mr. Dinesh Rao, for joining us on the broadcast. And now